So before we get started, I want to show you guys a couple things. We do have some big earnings from Target, Costco. So a couple things, a couple earnings we have next week. And then in top of that, we have some data coming out. ISM, that's one. And then I think Friday we got some big data coming out. Non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate, that's going to take into effect in the market. Now, fear and greed index sitting right here at 20. So extreme fear in the market. And typically around that time, you try to at least buy that dip. Now, here on stock market, well, it was a bloodbath on Friday until the end of the day. Market recovered. Dow was up 1.39%, Nasdaq going up 1.63%, S&P up 1.59%, and Russell going up just over 1%. Here's 11 sectors that makes up S&P 500 on top. You got pretty much financial, technology, utilities leading the way, but everything in the green on Friday. Stock market map, you'll find the same thing pretty much all over the place. Everything is green. Microsoft up 1%, Apple 2 almost, Amazon 1.70%, Tesla 4%, Meta up 1.51%, Google up just over 1%, Nvidia up 4%. So that's a big move right here on Nvidia. And you can see right here, financial also doing really great and pretty much green day across the board here in the market on Friday. So on SPY ETF, it's up 1.56%. And what happened here, you can see, I mean, the most volume we saw this year so far. You can see a lot of volume came in, pushed it even higher, but that did not take place until end of the day. It was pretty much trading at 583, 586, 88, and then finally we saw a lot of volume coming in, and especially when the price is trading below lower Bollinger Band, as typically, all the time you see that. And I did said, before, even in my video over the last week or so that, I'm not somebody who's gonna go and short this. And if you're shorting here, which I saw a lot of people are shorting, this is the result. A big pop at the end and shorts are covering. That's one thing. And then market is oversold. That's another thing. You got buying into buying, and that's going to cause a big rally, a ripper to the upside. Now, the question remains, is this just a oversold dead cat bounce, or this is actually a short-term tradable bottom here on S&P 500? I think we'll get an answer next week. So, this is going to be crucial here for S&P 500 to hold this level right here at 586, 585. If that breaks, then watch out, especially this double top. We cannot call this a double top yet unless the neckline breaks, which is down here near 580. So here on SPY ETF, we got a big move next week, also expected move. And if this thing is actually able to hold right here at 593, 5-day moving average, it can push up to 598. And I think this is where it's going to be make it or break it. If this thing gets over 598, over 600, possibly over 603, that's going to be a bull case for the market to push it back up to this range right here once again, which is like 609. Now, if this is actually just a dead cat bounce oversold rally, then watch out for a rejection here. 598 to 600, maybe even 603. Any rejection from these levels will take SPY down to 593, 5-day moving average, and below that you'll see a flush back down to 585. And underneath that level, guys, I mean, this thing can dump easily down to 580, and especially this low might be taken out at that point. So, lots of data, lots of big companies releasing earnings also. And I think J. Powell speaks on Friday, so it's gonna be another jam-packed week here in the market, and you're going to see, volatility picking up again here in this market, and market moving both directions. So if you don't know, especially when market is going in both directions, going up and then big move down, big move up, it's really hard and difficult to trade. I would say wait for a bottom to form, or maybe even if you're shorting, wait and see, get the confirmation, and then do whatever you want to do, and whatever the best case for you here in this market. And here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing here on X. It's totally free, and you can always get in touch with me if you want right here on X. And here's a fantastic play from last week on Xpong. You can see we short it on the 26th. It was trading at 22. We got $20 puts. And right after opening on Friday, we closed it. It went in the money. So it was a nice 35% profit on that play. Now, all these trade ideas, and especially if you guys are serious about trading, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. With that being said, let me share the other one here, which is even better. That is actually on triple Qs. You can see this thing did not get down to these levels right here. Before that, we took calls 500 2DT on triple Qs, and then this thing went over the money. It was a fantastic play. This one was over 170% on this play. Some people got 500% if they were holding until later on before closing, because we got a massive jump before closing on Qs and pretty much on overall stock market. So definitely check it out, guys. The link will be down below in the description. On triple Q, it's up 1.58%. So you can see this one also, I mean, we actually took out this low. So if you look at it, I mean, from that, view, how the market is actually moving, we took out this low down here, which was like 500, and we went down to 496. And this is where I actually got in with those calls you guys saw. It was near 497, 498. And then if I was holding till end of the day, it would have been like 600%. But that's not my goal. It's a day trade. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna get out where the market is going down. Now, going into next week, yes, we actually made a lower low, even hitting a higher high and then a lower low. I mean, it's all over the place. We're still trading inside this range. So if this is gonna be a double top here, we need to stay below 500 or 503. And this is going to be a big level right here, 503. If we get a pullback going into next week, let's say starting Monday morning, 503, your key line in the sand. If this thing cannot hold there, guys, we still have everything else came down, closing that election gap, including S&P 500. But Nasdaq was the strongest of all and still have this gap right here at 492.88 from election. So if this thing wants to come down, it was almost there. And I would buy the bigger dip maybe for a swing trade, but this thing did not close this gap on Friday. So that was a day trade I took and I was out. So watch out 503, key line in the sand, and if this thing breaks under that level, I think it can push down to 500 and then possibly down to 492.88 to close this gap. Now, over time, this Bollinger Band will come down even on S&P 500, and if this thing continues get to see, some sort of a relief rally. Maybe this thing gets a rejection right here at 510 to 511. If not here, definitely here at 516. So these are two levels to watch to the upside. If we get continuation to the upside going into Monday, 511 and 516. Over that, you'll see a move up to 520. DIA also went up on Friday 1.39%. And if you look at my screen, we got this type of bear flag pattern here. If this thing, possibly moves up and closes this gap just under 440 and gets a rejection here, it can come down and definitely can come down and close this gap at 425. So we're not out of the woods yet. I'm not saying, go full a bull here in the market going into next week. We got to be really cautious trading this market next week. We have some big data, some earnings, and then I think Jay Powell speaks, like I said, on Friday, and we will have more data next week. So lots of things are coming out, and the market is all over the place. And don't forget, guys, I mean, the Ukraine Russia deal did not go through. That's one news. The tariffs are actually on the table again, and doubling down on China. So that's going to take an effect, and the market have to realize that if that is going to take place, what about inflation? Yes, we saw some cooked up numbers on Friday, right? That was a cooked up number on PCE. The market did not really like it. When it came out, it was pretty much flat, and then market sold off a little bit, and then recovered at the end of the day. So who knows what they're planning here? And definitely, I mean, you need to see a confirmation breakout here in the market, especially over previous all-time highs. That's going to be a move that's going to take us even higher. If that's not happening, we're in the range and just chopping back and forth. And at some point, you're going to see that range breaking upside or to the upside. Nobody knows. We have to wait and see how that actually plays out. So here on Dow, if this thing pushes higher, there will be resistance right here at 440, 442, and then 445. To the downside, there will be support right here at 437, 433, and if that gives up, this thing will likely to come down and close this gap at 425.51. So IWM also getting a bit of a dead cat bounce right here, up 1%. And from where? Well, if you look at my screen, guys, 210. That's the level. We talked about it in my video. And we got a bounce off of that level. Even this level right here, it's a big level of support. It was trading way down here underneath the Bollinger Band. We got a dead cat bounce. Now this one, even though we got a bounce, it's nothing significant. We all know that IWM can go up 3-4% easily, but it's just 1%. So maybe small caps are sniffing something which could be, I don't want to say the word, the R word. And if that's the case, that's going to take place. This thing is definitely, sniffing that here, that it's going to take place in the future. So, small caps are nowhere here. If you look at some of the names like S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100, they're actually in a good spot on a longer time frame where this thing is just going down the hill, right? So here on IWM, critical support here at 210. If that gives up, we might pull back even hard, and this thing can come down to 207, possibly down to even flat 200 to 198. To the upside now, there will be resistance at 215. If we can get over that, watch out for a move up to 220, maybe up to 224, 227. On VIX, it was down actually 7%, but this thing moved, guys, and we talked about it before. This thing got over 22, almost 23, and then we saw a bit of a pullback. It was trading way outside the Bollinger Band, so now came back in. But if you look at my screen, it's holding right at the 5-day moving average and holding way over 18 bucks. So volatility is still elevated to the upside, and when you see something like this, it's on an uptrend, it's going up nicely, we can have a red day here on VIX. That's totally fine. Now the question here, are you going to see same move like before where this thing goes up and then a continuation to the downside for like 1 week? Look at how many red candles. Same thing happened here, same thing happened here. Even right here, it was continue to just collapse and go down from big pop and then going down to the downside. So VIX here, definitely your key line in the sand. I would say, not 19 bucks because of this 5-day moving average, but key level to watch will be 18. If this thing remains over 18 and just consolidates right here, that means more pain is yet to come for the market, and this thing can push over 20. Watch out for a move up to 23, possibly up to 26, and who knows, maybe up into 30s. That can also happen quickly on VIX, given the fact that we have a lot of things playing out in the market and lots of news. So before we wrap up this video, I want to look at TLT, and you can see this thing is breaking out from this multi-month downtrend. It's been on a downtrend for a long time, since the top back last year in September, right? And now look at this gap up and go here, guys. Huge move to the upside. This thing is not stopping for anybody. And if this thing wants to move, it can go higher, definitely up to 94. That's going to be the next target to the upside. Now, if this thing cools off, comes down, watch out, careful reversal. Could be the dip here at 90. So that's one thing to watch. This thing can come down. And this is where you'll find a strong support if this thing comes down at 90 and then all the way down here at 89. Now, a dollar also breaking out to the upside on Friday. You can see dollar got over 107.50 and now trading. It was up 0.25%. We talked about it in my video. We have this bullish engulfing candle last week, and we got some follow through on Friday, even though the market was also up. So if this thing wants to push, it can push up to 108.44, possibly up to 109.26. If there is a pullback, watch out for the strong support 106.51. Now, here on 10-year yield, this thing dropped even more on Friday, and you can see all the way down to almost 4.17. So if this thing wants to come down a bit more, it can. But what I'm seeing here is another possibly, falling wedge right here on TNX. And if this is where to play out, it can actually get that breakout to the upside. It can definitely move to the upside if this thing breaks out from this downtrend right here on TNX. So watch out. You're seeing this bullish falling wedge forming here, and it's near a critical support right here, 4.17. If this thing spikes back up and gets over 4.32, it can possibly push higher. Just like we did right here, we got a big spike and it went higher. Obviously, it did not, go higher from 4.66. Got a rejection there. So watch out if this thing spikes back up. That can put more pressure on S&P 500 or even on Nasdaq 100. With that being said, that's all I have for you guys in this video. And don't forget to hit that like button, guys. That is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, definitely also hit that subscribe button. And I'll definitely keep you guys updated going into Monday night.